AI is making us smarter? Or is it making us forget how to think? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. We live in a world where AI has reimagined how we learn, create, and connect. But are we really getting smarter? Or are we just outsourcing our thinking? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have a personal tutor, artist, and writer available 24/7 without ever having to leave your room? Sounds amazing, right? Well, that's pretty much what AI has become for us. Whether it's helping with homework, giving you ideas for an essay, or even generating art, AI has kind of become our virtual study buddy. And so here's the real question. Is AI helping us learn, or is it doing the learning for us? I remember one night completely frustrated with my psychology homework about operant conditioning, where we had to figure out the reinforcement schedules used in different situations. Operant conditioning is simply a way of learning that involves rewards and punishments in order to shape behavior. We were specifically tasked with identifying the reinforcement schedules, which are the rules for how often someone gets rewarded for certain actions. So if you think this is confusing, imagine how I felt. Not only were the terms unfamiliar, but I also struggled to identify them in the situations we were given. And after failing to find the answers I needed in web pages filled with vague information, I felt like my brain was on strike. Feeling increasingly frustrated, I finally turned to AI for help. And in seconds, it broke down the concepts so clearly and even provided a guide on the keywords I should pay attention to. I was genuinely impressed and a little scared about how quickly it helped me with my homework, without making me want to pull my hair out. So whenever I was struggling with a math problem so tricky that I couldn't even fathom where the numbers were coming from, I would ask AI for easy, step-by-step instructions on how to solve them. This was a total game changer compared to searching for some old tutorial video. You know how it goes. You want to ask the instructor to slow down or explain something even further. But you can't, because it was already published years ago, and so good luck with that. Plus, those videos are usually only a few minutes long, way shorter than a real class. And if you're like most students, who need a little extra time when it comes to grasping a new topic, then these short clips just don't cut it. You're completely dependent on the instructor's pacing, and it lacks the interactivity that comes in a real-life learning environment. This whole shift has completely changed the game for how we learn, making it a lot more interactive, accessible, and tailored to fit everyone's needs. AI has also seriously improved the time and effort that it usually takes in essay writing. So instead of spending hours hunting down information, students can now use AI tools that quickly grab relevant details and suggest a solid essay structure. So when I first started writing my speech, I didn't know where to start. I spent days just thinking about it, but I never really started because I was afraid it might turn out badly or not make any sense. Just looking at that empty paper was enough to make anyone feel nervous about finishing on time. But with a little help from AI, I finally found my way, gave me ideas, laid out a structure, and even helped correct my messy writing. But here's the thing. AI isn't just for homework. It's like in having an on-demand teacher, artist, and writer all in one. It makes learning faster and creativity feel limitless. However, there's a catch. And while AI can give us information instantly, it can't think critically for us. It doesn't know what it feels like to mess up, learn from mistakes, or have those aha moments that make learning so exciting. It lacks the human touch, the little imperfections that make our art, ideas, and writing unique. AI isn't a magic wand that gives us perfect information or capture the full essence of human creativity. Sometimes it gives us outdated, misleading, or just plain wrong information. And when it comes to writing poetry or generating art, AI can whip up some pretty interesting pieces based on learned patterns and data. Let's be real, there's no emotional depth there. Plus, AI struggles with the deeper stuff, like delivering the nuanced analysis and context the thorough research demands. Think about it. We need to search through different sources in order to determine which ones we can trust. AI doesn't understand credibility, doesn't question biases, verify facts, or weigh different perspectives the way we do. It just grabs from what's available, even if some of it is outdated, misleading, or just plain wrong. Without those critical thinking skills, what AI produces just can't compete with the wonderfully messy and organic process of crafting our ideas and letting them evolve. Research isn't just about collecting facts. It's about asking the right questions, challenging assumptions, and forming our own interpretations. That's something AI can't do for us. And while it can summarize, organize, and suggest, it doesn't understand the struggle of connecting ideas, the excitement of an unexpected discovery, or the thrill of finally piecing together a solid argument. So, no matter how advanced AI becomes, it's still going to be predictable. After all, it doesn't have life experiences to take inspiration from. It doesn't have those little moments that fuel our creativity and make our ideas unique. It can't pull from childhood memories, personal struggles, or those little moments that make our life meaningful. And isn't that what makes us human? We create not just from knowledge, but from things we can't always explain directly. And so we express them in creative ways. A friend of mine who loves writing once used AI to help with a storytelling competition. She was planning to submit a fictional narrative. And while the structure was perfect, when she read it out loud, it felt empty. Like it was missing her voice, her perspective. The plot was almost too predictable, you know? It's like we've seen this formula millions of times already. There's the good old main character who's relatable. Then there's the mean old antagonist who's just there to stir up trouble. There's something going on, there's some kind of conflict, they eventually make up, and boom, the end. What really bugs me is the understanding, or lack thereof, of the messy, complicated nature of human emotions and morality. Like, sure, it can create plots and dialogues, but it doesn't understand the subtleties that make us feel connected to these stories. It's not just about the bare bones of conflict resolution. It's about the layers of growth, relationships, and even the gray areas of right and wrong. That's when she realized that while AI can help us write, it can't change the way we see the world. For example, I love drawing, but sometimes I feel frustrated when I can't finish a piece fast enough or it takes forever. AI, on the other hand, can generate a perfect image in seconds. But when I look at AI-generated art, something feels off. It's technically perfect, but it just means there's no story behind it. Think about it. If there's no conflict, there wouldn't be a story. Because if there's no conflict, there's no excitement, no thrill, no anticipation, no story. Have you ever looked into the eyes of AI portraits? There's something about them that just seem soulless to me. I've noticed that their eyes don't seem to capture the true essence of a single glance. It makes me realize that part of what makes art so powerful is the struggle behind it. The hours spent redoing parts just to make it feel right, but never perfect. AI can give us answers, but only we can ask the right questions. So what's the point of all this? The point is striking a balance between using AI as a tool without letting it replace what makes us human. And when we stop thinking independently, we risk losing the ability to see beyond the surface of what we're given. And when we stop thinking independently, we risk becoming passive consumers of information instead of being active thinkers. The real magic happens when we mix the best of what tech offers with our own human abilities. After all, the greatest discoveries weren't made by following a script. Let's choose to be thinkers, not just followers. Because at the end of the day, AI can give us answers, but only we can ask the right questions. Let's reimagine a future with AI, but never replace what makes us human. Thank you.